Okay, so this time I'm going to teach you how to do a little flower on just a scrap piece of, or scrap sandwich. I'm going to use the straight ruler, but I'm just going to use that to draw myself some guides, and then I'm going to switch over to this wave ruler. This is the F template, and I'm going to use this shallow curve to make my flower. Now I've got myself some of the little handy grip here. So I've got just taken a square. You can see on these sheets, on these strips that you get in your pack, they've got lines on the back. So I usually just cut them into 1-inch sections. So you actually get tons and tons in one pack. And for this ruler, I'm actually just going to try with one square for now. So I'm just going to peel off the backing paper. And you can see it's kind of see-through. So I'm just going to pop that in the middle. So it's out of the way of my guides, so I can still see where I'm going. But that, we'll see how I go with that one piece of sandpaper or handy grip. I might need a few more pieces, but for now I'll just try with one. And to make my flower, I'm just going to use my straight edge ruler. As you can see, there's some extra little guidelines on this ruler, the 45-degree line, and I am going to use that next. But first I'm just going to draw a straight line. And I'm just using a Soline Trio pen. I really like the Soline products, they're really nice. So I've got my straight line, and then I'm going to use one of the straight lines on the ruler, and I'm going to draw up from about halfway. So you could use these guides on your quilt. Maybe you've got a block that this is going to fit in, but we just need some lines at a right angle, and then we need the 45-degree lines as well. So I'm going to use the 45-degree lines on the ruler, and I'm going to line those up on the lines that I've already drawn so that I can get that 45-degree line. And I'll just move that up a little bit so I can go right out to the corner, and then I'll bring it back down again and go right out to this corner. And then I'll repeat on the other angle. So basically I end up with a little star that's going to give me all of the guidelines that I need for quilting this flower. So there we go. That's what I've got there. And I'm going to use, as I said, this wave ruler, and I'm actually going to line it up. There's a line on the halfway point. That's the most important one for this block. And I'm actually going to line that up on each line as I go around. Now the big thing to keep in mind is that you do have that 1/4 inch between your guide and where the needle's actually going to be. So I'm going to line that up, and I can see from these lines here and here where I'm going to quilt. So we'll go back to the machine and we'll start so you can see that. Okay, so I'm back at the machine, and I'm going to start at one end. Now I've lined up that line in the middle of the ruler on that center line there, and I'm going to start at the needle stop mark out here. Just going to line everything up, bring up my bobbin. Okay, and we're ready to go. Just going to stitch a few small stitches there to secure everything. And away we go. So I'm just going to stitch around this ruler until I get to the other end. And until I get to that needle stop point at the other end. I'm just going to flip this around so it's a bit easier for me to line up. And then I'm going to put my ruler back on, and make sure you can see there, make sure that that center line is back on my line, because I'm going to go back down the other way. Now just for this first one, I'm going to need to backtrack back to the center so I can do the rest of my petals. So I'm going to leave the ruler exactly where it was so I can trace back exactly on my stitches that I've just made, back to the center of the block. Okay, and now I'm back at the middle. Next up I'm going to do the petals here and here. So I'm going to flip my ruler around Again, I'm going to line up that halfway point on one of my guidelines that I drew, and I'm just going to roughly check that everything's lined up on those lines that I've already marked. So I'm going to hold my ruler in place nice and securely and move my piece. Now for this first one, I'm actually only going to draw the one side. I'm going to flip my ruler around, line it up again on the center line, and we're going to go back all the way now, back to the other end. And then I'm going to flip the ruler around again and go back to the center. So there we go, that's the first half of the flower. I could just do that in a square block and leave it as it is, and that would make a really cute design. But I'm going to keep going. Once again, I'm lining up that center on my next guideline, which is this one. And I'm going to line up on these 2 points as well. And out we go again. These may overlap a little bit, but I'm not worried about it. Normally I would use a thread that's going to blend a bit better, and you wouldn't see it, but on the camera you can't see those blending threads, so I wanted to do this one so that you could see it. If I need to, I stop and adjust my hands. Flip around again, line back up on that center line, back to the middle. And the last one, again I'm lining up the center line, lining up here, and the same point on the other end. I can feel that sliding a little bit, so maybe I need another sandpaper dot up here, or I just need to stop and readjust. Flip it around for the last one, and back to the center. And there's our little flower.